Welcome to Hope for Your Pelvic Floor, the podcast that transforms how you move, feel, and live. And I'm Claire Sparrow, Pilates teacher, educator, and best-selling author. And I am very passionate about helping you reclaim your pelvic health and your power. This is your space for optimism, possibility, and practical steps to move from helpless to hopeful. Join me as we bust the myths and share expert insights, explore real solutions for a body that supports you for life. You're not meant to settle, you're meant to thrive. So let's get started. In today's episode, we are working on compounding interest. I was reading a few things recently talking about compounding interest, the long-term build-up of benefit of I mean, this is compounding interest is a financial term, isn't it? But how does compounding interest apply to our pelvic health? So obviously I make connections in random ways, but I really believe this. I really believe that our pelvic floor, it's for life. I have many women that will say to me, oh, my mum has a prolapse, she's in her 80s, she has a prolapse, or my mum is fully incontinent, and I really don't want to be like that. I really don't want to. And that that's quite a motivator for a lot of people. And it's a reminder that it's something that we need to do for life. We need to care for our pelvic floor for life. I recently had a DM. I get a lot of DMs and inquiries from women who are just not sure where to turn. And a lady had messaged me and said, oh, a year ago I did this free class that you did, and my symptoms of prolapse completely went away in the week that we did this work. And I was like, that's just wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. And she said, but they've come back. And it transpired that she'd done it for that week and felt better. And it's a trap that so many of us fall into, that we feel better, so we think we don't need to do the thing. I know you're cringing, I'm cringing. We've all been there, whether we're talking about pelvic floor or something else. We've all been there. Well, oh, I feel better now. I don't need to do such and such. And it reminded me, and I thought, you know what, you're so brave to have gotten in touch with me, to have reached out to ask for help again, because golly, it's hard to ask for help. I know, really hard to ask for help. And to admit, okay, it worked, and then I didn't do it, and now it's, the symptoms have come back again. And I think, I use the analogy all the time, and I even use it in my book Hope for Your Pelvic Floor, the analogy of brushing your teeth. Your pelvic floor needs regular attention, but we're not having adverts on the TV for pelvic floor exercises, to do it twice a week, and twice a day, I should say, and your dentist recommends, your Pilates pelvic floor expert recommends. There's no marketing, there's no information coming at us to tell us that we should be doing our pelvic floor care every day, but we're getting that about our teeth. But like this opening up here, why are we not dealing with that opening down there? I mean, for me, it boggles my mind. And I guess, that's why I'm here. That's why we're together on the Hope for Your Pelvic Floor podcast. That's why I wrote a book. And anybody that's written a book will tell you that it is no mean feat, and you have to really mean business and want to do it and get your message out there, because it is, wow, it's like growing and birthing another child. I mean, it is absolutely epic. But I digress. The analogy, really, caring for your pelvic floor is the same sort of diligent approach that you need to take, that you take with brushing your teeth every day, morning and night. And don't you enjoy the compounding benefits of brushing your teeth, even if they're not immediate or measurable or daily on your mind, even. You know that because you've brushed your teeth twice a day, every day, your entire life, you have prevented cavities. You have kept your teeth, hopefully. All of these things that we don't, we it's just not measurable, is it? But we still do it. We still know that it's the right thing to do. We know that if we went back in time and we looked at people before we had all this oral hygiene and the toothbrushes and toothpaste and dentists and all of these things, we know if we went back in time, there'd be people with no teeth, or they'd be all stinky and rotten and horrid, and that wouldn't be great, would it? So I wonder if we can switch our mindset. And as I say that, it reminds me actually of the there's an edge, and I felt it too, and still do sometimes. There's an edge of guilt, like somehow doing pelvic floor practice, because it might be a Pilates class or it might be a membership class or something that takes you away from your family or doing some other activity, but it's switching that it's not self-care in some kind of frivolous. You're not just going, I don't know, you're not going to just have your eyelashes done or your nails done or something that might make you feel amazing and you really love it. And I'm not judging that. I like to get my nails done and my eyelashes done, but it's a different self-care category in my mind than doing your pelvic floor self-care. It's baseline to me. It's baseline. It is a need rather than something over and above. It's not. It's an absolute necessity. So then with this analogy, I thought, with this analogy of brushing our teeth, what about if we actually looked at the brushing our teeth as a way of integrating in doing something daily for our pelvic floor? So if doing an entire class, and I've got loads on YouTube, and it's March right now, so you could go and join for free our March Madness, where I've adapted all the traditional 34 exercises in the Pilates repertoire to being really proactive for your pelvic health. And so there's lots of things you could be doing. And what if maybe you can't fit the time in yet, or you're not sure if this is going to work for you? Maybe you've got little kids and just it's very limited, the time that you have. And I know time is a huge thing. It's why in the membership we even have really short, tiny classes. And I did the 7x7 challenge, where it's 7 minutes for 7 days, and that has a massive impact. So I know time is tricky. So what about if for the 2 minutes that you brush your teeth, you're actually integrating? So this is our kind of takeaway today, is that for the 2 minutes twice a day that you brush your teeth, that also becomes your pelvic floor action. The time. And I'm not talking about doing squeezes, because I'm not a fan of those. It's not how we want it to work. We do need to re-educate your pelvic floor for sure, but we need to do it in a way that's really in line with how it functions. And in our membership, we have an amazing habits expert called Rebecca, and Rebecca teaches about habit stacking. And basically, this is what I'm talking about, is that when you stack a new habit with an existing 100%, it's bedded in. There's no day that goes by that you don't brush your teeth. I know it. So then if you add into that really simple things that you can do while brushing your teeth, that will go alongside that, you are far more likely to do it and reap those rewards, that compounding benefit over time, it also creates a ripple effect. Because if in the morning you do these exercises, you've set your body up for it to be responsive, your pelvic floor to be responsive. It also sets you up to make more healthy choices throughout the day. It sets you up to have the what's the word? The benefits of your pelvic floor, the well-being, that's it, the well-being of your pelvic floor in mind. It's at the forefront of your mind. So you make other decisions that are going to bring the well-being of your pelvic floor to mind. So a couple of minutes twice a day, and here are the things that I suggest that you do. And I must tell you, before I tell you this, I have to tell you a funny story. One of the things that this is not new, I've not created this just for you. I tell clients all the time. I had one lady who said, well, I do my squats every day when I brush my teeth, just like you said. It's brilliant. Except I was staying in a holiday cottage, and at the holiday cottage, it had a vanity unit underneath the sink, and I hadn't quite woken up and realized that. So when I bent my knees to do my squat, I bumped my knees against the vanity unit. So thinking back to our last episode where we talked about side effects, I still want you to consider what the side effects might be of these movements as well. And that might just be you taking care of the environment that you're in and making sure that you have space, that you're not going to bump your knees. And I thought that was just such a lovely story and such a great demonstration of the commitment and also how habit stacked she'd become, that she was just doing it and it was just unconscious. She was just going through it because that's what she always does. So I thought, brilliant. This habit stacking definitely works. And she knows every day she's doing her pelvic floors or something for her pelvic floor. Okay, so in the morning, your morning routine is heel raises. Super simple, and you might not think about how that helps your pelvic floor, but there's a specific way that you're going to do it. So you're brushing your teeth as you do. You're going to stand with your feet and your knees tightly together, so tightly together, and you're going to lift your heels straight up and straight down. They're going to want to weave in and out, and you're going to really lift your heel bones up. Sometimes I think about the ankle bones lifting straight up and straight down. And this is really, really important that you have the sense of straight up, straight down. On the way down, you can even think about stretching your heel back towards the floor as it goes down. What might happen is when your heel goes down, your toes come up. We're going to avoid that. It's really important your toes stay holding onto the floor. All right, so that's one. Your second one is to do some heel taps. This is the same thing as the heel raises, but your knees are bent and you do it rapidly. So it's just a little like you're clicking your heels. Who clicks your heels? Alice in Wonderland. So instead of clicking them together, you're clicking them to the floor, and you just do that quite rapidly. You do need to have your knees bent. The last one, potentially, you might just do the first two in the morning, but another one if you wanted to, and you could do the first two whilst doing this one, is actually just stand with your back against the wall. I've given this before with breathing, but this time it's really about being able to do those other two activities while your back is against the wall. So have your head, shoulders, and pelvis against the wall, and you're just brushing your teeth while you do it. Or you can do the heel raises, so you slide up and down, and it helps you with that feeling of straight up, straight down. And you could also do your heel taps. So that's your morning routine. So only three things, and they're very integrated. If you want more information on those three things, if you're not already on my newsletter, I expand on that a little bit further in my newsletter. So do sign up to the free newsletter. I'll put the link below. Now, we need an evening routine, don't we? Because you're going to brush your teeth again before bed. So again, you're going to stand with your feet together. You're going to bend your knees and you're just going to curl your pelvis under. It's a bit like, like a naughty dog. He knows he's done something wrong. That's my dog for sure. His tail goes under and he knows. That's all you're going to do. And you just have your knees bent and you just curl your tail under. Sometimes it can feel like your glutes are doing it. So here's your side effect. What I would suggest is that you think about your pubic bone scooping into your belly button, and that will make sure it's the pelvic floor that's more dominant than your glutes. Then the other thing you can do here is pelvic floor clocks. This time you have your feet slightly apart, and all you're going to do is with your tailbone, you're going to imagine drawing a figure of 8 or a clock between your legs. So the clock is being made on the floor between your feet, essentially. We have a funny image for this one where you can imagine that you've got a laser pointer pointing down between your legs from your vagina, and you are making that little figure of 8 with the laser pointer. It's very small. It's not like salsa dancing. It's not a big movement. It really is quite small. And then, of course, the famous squats. This is super easy. You're going to still have your feet slightly apart. You're going to let your knees bend forwards and then press down into your feet to stand up tall. These are just simple ideas. You could pick one of these things and just do that one thing. You could do heel raises, just heel raises every time you brush your teeth. And then the next week, you could do the heel taps every time you brush your teeth. But these movements are really simple ways to start integrating true functional pelvic floor movements into your daily life. And this is going to create that all important compounding interest, like the brushing our teeth every day. We know we're not getting cavities. You know that when you are aware and you're doing the work on your pelvic floor, that you are preventing incontinence in older age. You're preventing prolapse in older age. You're reversing the issues that you might already be experiencing. So to recap, working and supporting your pelvic floor is going to generate compounding interest, and it is for life. It is not something that we're going to do once, fix our pelvic floor, and never have to think about it again. I know I have to be the voice of truth as well as hope. So it is something you are going to have to do for life in different ways, and it is going to build compounding interest. There are simple things that you can do to habit stack, like Rebecca on our membership teaches, the stacking of a new habit with an existing really strong bedded in habit will create not just the long-term compounding benefits, but also the ripple effect in your day to make more pelvic health informed choices, to be mindful and caring for your pelvic floor. Your exercises in the morning: heel raises, heel taps, and wall standing. Your evening exercises: pelvic curls, that pubic bone to belly button, and pelvic clocks, the laser pointer between your legs. And then, of course, the all-important squats, one of your most functional ways of accessing your pelvic floor, and a movement we do getting in and out of a chair and on and off the toilet every day, many times. So these are the movements, this is the message for today's episode. I've loved sharing this with you. I am thoroughly enjoying being here and getting to share on a consistent basis this important message that I have, being the voice of hope for your pelvic floor. And I'm appreciating so much all your lovely words of encouragement and support, your ideas and requests for episode topics. And I'd love to have you go on and leave reviews and rate the podcast so that we can reach more and more women. Don't forget, you can join me free in loads of different ways. And as it's March, you can reply March on my socials, Claire Sparrow Pilates and Hope for Your Pelvic Floor. And when you reply March, we'll send you a link to join me absolutely free for our classes in March. And there we are, another episode. And I hope that this gives you something practical that you can go ahead and do. And I will see you again next episode. Bye, everyone.